everybody, True Crime Metrix here. We hope you are having a very happy Wednesday. We just saw that there's this antifreeze trial happening over in Massachusetts there somewhere, where they have no microphones. I thought we'd take a look at that. I know nothing about it, apart from the fact that Judy Church is a wrinkly old prune. Yeah, I guess, what did she do? Put some antifreeze in her husband's pork chop. It's always in a pork chop, isn't it? Isn't that weird? Why does antifreeze and pork chops go together? I guess it's just maybe something to do with the type of people that actually eat pork chops love poisoning people with antifreeze. Who loves pork chops in the crowd? The real DJ Miller. The real DJ Pork Chop. More like it. Thank you. Okay, let's have a look at those opening statements. I think. Boom. Service unavailable. What service? What is the meaning of this? There is no service. Well, we got that one. What about DJ? Boom. Well, which one is it? Service not available. I'll call my lawyer. I'll call my lawyer. Okay, good.
Because it is the Commonwealth that there's a verdict of proving the charge of murder in the first degree that was brought against the defendant in the church. The Commonwealth goes first, the opening statement takes the proceedings. So the first witness is the
Yeah. We have the famous Massachusetts whispering judge over here. We've got no microphones in the courtroom. I just love it when that happens. I hope Courtney Clenny's going to sort her shit out. Fucking hell, what is the deal with that? It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Sort your fucking microphones out. Riding shotgun. Boom, 127. No, it's sweet. Usually in sweet drinks. Had a lot of these poisonings and suicides. Yeah, rough way to fucking commit suicide. I've heard it's like a million razor blades cutting you apart from the inside. Yeah. Great. Sweet. And who says pork chops aren't sweet? Am I right? Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Thank you. I hate being alone. I hate you for all the lies. You don't love me. This is not love.
Cameraman's first day. Fire that person.
Those are the words that Judy Church wrote in her notebooks that the police found.
Okay, I think I'm going to have to put quite a lot of boost on this, so please let me know if you like the boost that we do. What do we need? Let's say 220% boost.
While investigating the murder of Leroy Fowler. Leroy Fowler was Miss Church's boyfriend. They had been in a relationship for about 10 years.
Okay, one second. Last interruption, and then I'll go back to the beginning. But I gotta show you guys. Well, maybe Christina and Writing already saw, but anybody who's not on Discord, for starters, go and join, because Discord is great. But also, our chef, our in-house resident chef, executive chef, made a poison sandwich that's fucking amazing. I mean, it's a work of art. Look at it. Where is it? The Curry Richards special. How do we put that on screen? Love it. Look at that. Poison sandwiches with a love note. Happy Valentine's Day. Till death do us part. Eat your sandwich. And you see it's full of pills, full of meds. I mean, they look like vitamins. You got some ginseng tablets, have you? I knew it.
In some parts of the relationship were pretty good. They lived together at her house in Salisbury. They had purchased a home in Florida. They had some dogs. The defendant and the victim both really.
Salisbury, huh? So maybe it wasn't pork chops. Maybe it was Salisbury steak, which if you're eating that, you deserve to be poisoned. So, I mean, it all levels out. Hey, Spacey Dove. Everybody in chat. Hello, welcome. We got a surprise trial. I think I heard the name Judy Church, but it's happening right now. So we're just going to have a look at opening statements and see if it tickles our fancy.
Is it a notebook?
Oh, there's a notebook. There's always a notebook.
Now, I usually have them distributed after the openings, but that's fine. If you choose to take, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Committee. I didn't know they were going to have notebooks. If you choose to take notes, just bear in mind that your notes don't reflect evidence. Mr. Committee, please continue.
As I said, some parts of that relationship looked pretty good. But that relationship was not a good relationship. It was a toxic, horrible relationship.
A toxic relationship, so she toxiced him to death.
The primary reason why that
It's almost poetic, isn't it? A toxic relationship, so you poison him by putting toxic chemicals in his Salisbury steak.
relationship was so bad was that Mr. Fowler had another girlfriend. Everybody knew that he had 2 girlfriends. Everybody accepted it, but I think it's fair to say neither of those 2 women were happy about it. Miss Church.
Well, they might have been at the beginning. Give it a shot.
Was not happy about it at all. You'll get the chance to read many of the entries that she put in her notebook describing the way she thought about this relationship. And this one that I just read to you, I hate being alone, I hate you for all the lies, is just a representation of these many diary entries and notebook entries that she put in both her written notebooks and in the notes section of her iPhone. She cataloged the things that he did to her that made her feel unvalued, unloved, unwanted. And it's easy to understand, in part, where Ms. Church was coming from. Nobody wants to feel like they are not a primary person in their loved one's life. Nobody wants to know that when things get bad in your relationship, your partner leaves and goes to his other girlfriend. But that's what was going on, and that's what has been going on for years in this particular relationship. And that's what brought us here today. That's what caused the death of Mr. Fowler. On November 11th, 2000.
So, toxic relationship, 2 girlfriends, nice. What? And one of them just had enough. Is that what it is?
22. It's actually Mr. Fowler's birthday. And that morning, the defendant, Ms. Church, called the
Fowler in this foul crime. Toxic relationship, Fowler.
police because Mr. Fowler was sick. He was in bad shape. He was stumbling around the
Okay, I'm going to test if the chat is deleting swear words. Chat is a shit bastard motherfucker. All looks good to me.
apartment. He couldn't stand up, he couldn't get his feet, he really couldn't talk or form any words. Every time he tried to pull himself up and get off the ground, he would fall back down. So after this went on for a couple of hours, this church called, police called the ambulance, and they came and they see the same things. They see the same things that are wrong with Mr. Fowler. She calls 911 and she says, my boyfriend must have ingested something. The first sign that you're going to hear that something was just a little bit off about this whole thing.
Now she's ruined church for everybody, right? Every time they go, Sunday morning, they'll think of this.
How does she know that he ingested something? He had all sorts of health problems, pacemaker. He was complaining about illnesses leading up to this. But she immediately tells the police, immediately tells the EMTs that he must have ingested something. She's mostly not able to talk while they're there. They can't get him to stand up. They're holding him up to keep him from falling to the floor. Essentially, he's sitting on the floor. They have to hold him up. At some point, he asks about his dog. And at some point, he may have said something about some Percocets that he took. Now, he was no saint. We already said that he had another girlfriend. He used cocaine from time to time. But there's not going to be any evidence at all that Mr. Fowler wanted to harm himself, that he was in any way thinking of ending his life, that he had any thoughts of suicide. In fact, in the months leading up to his death, he was concerned about his health. He was trying to figure out what was wrong with him, and he thought maybe he had some sort of prostate cancer. So the EMTs are there. They're looking at him, and they don't know what's wrong with him. He can't talk to them. He can't tell them what's going on. He can't stand up. He's got no control over his limbs. He's combative. And they just don't know. They don't know what's wrong with him. So off he goes to Anna Jake's hospital, and they start running tests. They start taking blood. And honestly, at the beginning, they don't know what's wrong with him either. As it goes on, they start to think, he's been poisoned with antifreeze. He has antifreeze in his system. And that's the colloquial way that people talk about ethylene glycol poisoning. Ethylene glycol is a chemical that goes into antifreeze, and it is poisonous to people. Its metabolites, when your body breaks it down, causes your liver to stop, your kidneys to stop working, and then eventually can shut down your brain and kill you. You'll hear that those symptoms that I talked about at the beginning, the falling down, the unable to talk, the stomach pains, the groaning, you'll hear that those are all the first symptoms of ethylene glycol, antifreeze poisoning. Now, after he goes to Anna Jake's, they send him off to Mount Auburn in Cambridge, another hospital where they can.
Okay, I think I got the curse word censor out of here. Let's see if I can curse. Chat is a shit bastard motherfucker. Do we see that? Riding shotgun. Do we see shit bastard motherfucker now? We should do.
Provide a higher level, hopefully, of care. And you're going to hear from the doctor, one of the doctors who treated him at Mount Auburn, that all of the signs that she could see, all the signs that you're going to hear about, the medical terms, it's called an anion gap, an osmolar gap, some crystals that are forming in his urine. These are all signs of antifreeze poisoning, of ethylene glycol poisoning.
I mean, at least if you're going to poison someone, I mean, fentanyl was a better idea than antifreeze, right? How do you... There's no excuse that can be made. Listen, this guy had an antifreeze problem, okay? He hid it from his family for years, okay? He dealt with it in the dark, but every night he would take a gallon of fluorescent green liquid and pour it all over his Salisbury steak. That was his marinade.
On the 13th, November 13th, so this happened on the 11th, the 911 call, goes to the hospital. On the 13th, Mr. Fowler dies. His brain just stops working as a result of these poisons that are coursing through his body. The police start their investigation. And you'll see that very quickly they focused on this church as their suspect. They started talking to her. They realized that she had told different people different stories about what was going on with Mr. Fowler, in the 24 hours.
It's quite hard to detect. Is it? Who says? I've never heard that. I've never heard it's hard to detect. Right in. You're a medical expert. Is it hard to detect?
They had been planning on going to Florida, around that house again. Mr. Fowler was fine on that Thursday, the day before, November 10th. Didn't show any signs of ethylene glycol poisoning. And they start talking to family, they start talking to friends, they start looking at her notebooks, they get into her phone. And they find out that, in fact, Ms. Church has threatened in the past to poison Mr. Fowler. In fact, the day that he goes to the hospital, the day that he goes to Mount Auburn, Ms. Church told Mr. Fowler's sister, "Oh yeah, that's one of our jokes. I joke about poisoning him. I joke about poisoning his milkshakes." And that's important because the way that you poison somebody with antifreeze, with ethylene glycol, if you put it in something sweet, antifreeze is a sweet-tasting substance that can be hidden in sweet drinks.
Yeah, it's hard to detect by the person drinking it, the antifreeze, or pouring it over their Salisbury steak. It's hard to detect by taste, right? That's why you should never pour it in the street, because a dog or a cat will just come up and just lick it right up.
They keep looking. They find more. They find these stories, these diary entries, these notebook entries, where she talks about how bad their relationship is. She talks about how much she hates the other woman, a woman named Barbara Randall. And she refers to her repeatedly, both in her conversations with the police and in her notes and her notebooks, as the cunt. And I apologize for that word. It's so...
Whoa! Hey, round of applause, prosecutor. I don't think I've ever heard somebody say that in a court. We get a lot of fucko and whatever. Wow. I think that's a moment in time. Give the man an award. Good job. Let's hear it again. Do they put it in the subtitles as well?
Entries, these notebook entries, where she talks about how bad their relationship is. She talks about how much she hates the other woman, a woman named Barbara Randall. And she refers to her repeatedly, both in her conversations with the police and in her notes and her notebooks, as the cunt. And I apologize for that word. It's so ugly, but it just shows you exactly what she was thinking about Ms. Randall, about the nature of their relationship. And you're going to have to read these and you're going to hear them. Some of them are vile. They really are, the way she talks about Ms. Randall. The police keep investigating, right? They go to her house on November 14th, the day after Mr. Fowler died, and they search that house. And among the items that they find is a Powerade bottle. Now, this is not the Powerade bottle that they found.
Powerade. It's even the same color as antifreeze, right? How many colors of antifreeze are there? Pink, green, green, yellow. Pink, green, purple, and is there a blue one? I don't know. But Powerade has all those colors.
This is just a representative of it, so I can show it to you. But Mr. Fowler loved his Powerade, he loved his sweet drinks.
Yeah, don't drink out of it. God, don't mix up the bottles in evidence.
He loved his milkshakes, loved his diet.
Loved his milkshakes, loved his Salisbury steak. You know, this is where the steak comes from. Is it? Is that where it comes from? Are they the people that are responsible for it? Those godforsaken Massachusettsians?
He really had a horrible diet that appears to have consisted almost entirely of sugar. But they find this.
Okay, we'll just pop out in a moment to Food Corner and learn about who is responsible for Salisbury steak, because I'm betting it's the same ridiculous individual that's responsible for Hawaiian pizza and all food crimes.
They found a number of Powerade bottles, but one that they found, it just didn't look right. There was a little tiny bit at the bottom, right? A little bit of tiny liquid left. It just wasn't quite the right color. So they take it, and it goes to the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab for some further testing. And they test it for fingerprints. They don't find any fingerprints. They test it for DNA. And what they find on the outside of the bottle is that they find Mr. Fowler's DNA, which you would expect if he drank from it. They found Miss Church's DNA on the outside of the bottle, which you might expect because it's her house, and maybe she bought it, maybe she put it in the fridge, maybe she threw it in the trash. But they also tested the mouth of the bottle. And on the mouth of the bottle, where you could only get your DNA by touching the mouth and taking off that cap, they find Mr. Fowler's DNA. They also find Miss Church's DNA.
Well, I hate it when prosecutors make statements like that, or any lawyer, because the only way that the DNA could get there is if they put it to their mouth. Okay, well, here's another scenario. What if the bottle was open on the counter and she fucking coughed up a load of, just had a big open cough or a sneeze. DNA could fly all over the place. It could be on anything.
On the mouth of the bottle. And why am I talking about a Powerade bottle? Because they then tested the liquid. They tested the liquid that was found inside, that little bit that was left over, and it had antifreeze in it. It had ethylene glycol. So that's going to be the murder weapon. That's the gun. That's the knife. That's the method used to kill Mr. Fowler. All the evidence that you're going to hear in this case about how Mr. Fowler died is going to be what I'm going to call circumstantial evidence. No one is going to stand up and say, I saw Miss Church put that ethylene glycol, I saw her put that antifreeze in the Powerade. That's not going to happen. No one's going to see, it's not a shooting.
Hey, DJ Miller, thank you so much for that super chat. Look at that. $1.99. Boom.
Stabbing where somebody can see what happens. It's all circumstantial evidence. It's all evidence that you're going to have to interpret and see what it means. And there's benefits to that, right? Sometimes it's great if you have somebody come in and say, yeah, I saw somebody shoot somebody, but you have to decide whether that witness is believable, right? But when it's circumstantial evidence, when it's the science, when it's the medical examiner coming in and saying, Mr. Fowler had ethylene glycol in his blood, when it's the chemist coming in and saying, Miss Church's DNA was on the mouth of the bottle. Those are things that you need to discern, that's the evidence, right? That's what you need to interpret, not what you need to decide is true or false. Mr. Fowler had ethylene glycol in his blood when he died. He had ethylene glycol in his blood that morning when the 911 call was made. Miss Church was the only person who had access to him during the time frame that ethylene glycol would take effect on the body, about an hour to 12 hours after consumption. She was the only one who said, I'm poisoning him through his milkshakes, through his sweet drinks. She told another friend of the family at a bar that summer before his death, If he ever cheats on me, I'll poison him.
What is the mentality of people like that, huh? Okay. Or you could just fucking not worry about it. You know? Oh. If he ever cheats on me, I'll poison him. I mean, what is going on there when people have such a fucking reaction to that kind of shit? It's like, what is the actual thing that is being damaged by that in people's minds or how they feel? Is it like that they're worried about loss or their own sense of value, or they don't like the idea of being lied to? I mean, okay. Well, is anything that big of a problem that you're going to kill someone over it? I mean, there's things in life that probably do at least explain, if not excuse, a vigilante murder. That's not one of them. Hey, Soap, why don't you go make like a tree and get out of here?
Final thing that I want to talk to you about, and I left it for last because I sort of referenced it, but I told you that we know how Mr. Fowler was acting before that 911 call was made, that he was stumbling around the apartment, that he couldn't get his feet, couldn't talk. He looks like he's in a lot of pain. Now that's important, one.
Was he a big drinker? Because that could be normal.
Because of the extreme atrocity and cruelty theory that the judge has talked to you about already. But it's most important because we know that evidence because as Mr. Fowler lay on the floor, moaning, trying to get up, whacking his head, bleeding in Miss Church's bedroom, she sat on the bed and she videotaped him with her iPhone. She videotaped him for a half an hour as he lay on the floor of her bedroom, dying from antifreeze poisoning. She doesn't get up. She doesn't do anything to help him. She waits until he manages to choke out at the end, call 911, call an ambulance. She actually says that and he goes, yes, yes. It's the only words he gets out on that entire 30 minutes of video. She shows him his unopened birthday. She shows the camera his unopened birthday presents. Complains that he's tearing the room apart. And she's tell me what you took. Knowing full well that antifreeze that she gave him was poison.
Christina, we'll have a break after the prosecutor and have a good look at Salisbury steak and really try and get find out what's going on there.
His body, killing him as he lay there. You're going to hear from a number of witnesses.
Oh, hey, remember the letter of the day is P. What does P stand for? PayPal. That is the place where you support prosecutors, Metrix, and all good things. PayPal, 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 PayPal. So, fuck off out of here. That is enough. You've been out for 2 hours.
Scientists and police officers investigating this case. At the end, I'm going to remind you about all the things that we've talked about here in the field of the opening. I'm going to ask you to find Mr. Church guilty of murder in the first degree. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chameleon. Now you will hear from Mr. Scott.
Mr. Chameleon. Keep an eye on him. He can change shape and color and everything. Where is he? Where is he? Is he that white towel on the wall up there? That's Mr. Chameleon. What's his name?
Course of the openings. And I'm going to ask you to find Mr. Church guilty of murder in the first degree. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chameleon. And now you will hear from
Thank you, Mr. Chameleon. I love it. I love it. Okay, take a break. Let's try and understand Salisbury steak. I mean, that one doesn't look too bad. We'll show it anyway. We'll be fair. We'll be fair. We'll be open. Oh my god. Fucking hell, look at this. A ready meal Salisbury steak. 3 minutes in the microwave. With mac and cheese. Fucking hell. Do you know how many US presidents had mac and cheese as their favorite dish? They're responsible for that. Yeah. I can't even look at macaroni cheese. I mean, really, fuck me. Who would put that in their body? Pasta in general, it's like, okay, it's just wet bread, basically. And if it's not al dente, get out of my house. Even if I'm in your restaurant, get out of my house. Yeah, okay, we'll show both ends. We'll show the ready meal Salisbury steak. We'll show one that actually doesn't look that bad. And then we'll learn about the history. And try and understand why that happened. I guess it was a cost-saving exercise, right? Probably in well, I was going to say Edwardian, but that wouldn't mean anything overseas, would it? Let's say in the time of Taft, William Howard Taft. Or Henry, what is it? William Henry Harrison Howard Taft. I can't remember. I can't remember. Got to go over all that again. I'm getting good though. I'm getting good. What is it called? What is it called? What's it called? William Henry Harrison was hardly healthy. All that turtle soup. You know, it's made with real turtles and sometimes served in their shell. That's great. I tell you who'd love that, Eric Richards. He'd be sure to kill his own turtle. A big one. Where is this goddamn steak? I hate this thing. Google need to sort out their... sort out everything. I stuck. Okay. Boom, there it is. Look at that, huh? For your nightly convenience. Imagine going round someone's house for dinner and they give you this. Oh, delete their number. Delete their number. Okay, let's go to one that doesn't look too bad. I mean, there's a lack of care. That corn looks overcooked. Mashed potatoes are too white. And the gravy looks like it's made with toxic chemicals. The only thing I do like about it is those caramelized onions. Now, if that were draped over something that tasted good, I mean, essentially it's a giant meatball. It's a giant meatball. And it's not a steak, as you can see. So what is the history? The genesis. Oh my God. Salisbury steak is a meat dish originating in the United States and made from a blend of ground beef and other ingredients. Yeah, they don't tell you what those are. Such as chicken and pork. Being considered a version of a hamburger steak, today Salisbury steak is usually served with a gravy similar in texture to brown sauce. Along with various side dishes such as mashed potatoes and cooked vegetables, typically green beans and occasionally peas or corn. What would be best? You see, there's a time and a place for corn, and this isn't it, right? You want to go with the green beans, I think, definitely, for sure. It is a common menu item served by diners served to diners, and is frequently available as a TV dinner in supermarket frozen food sections. Yeah, we saw that. Hamburg was a common embarkation. Point to blah, 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 blah. This is a terrible article. James Salisbury was an American physician and chemist known for his advocacy of a meat-centered, low-vegetable diet to promote health, possibly the earliest known fad diet. He called it muscle pulp of beef. Man, can you imagine going into a restaurant and ordering the muscle pulp of beef? I love that. I'm going to write that down. That's what he called it, as a catchy name for an appealing dish. I'll have the muscle pulp of beef, rare. Muscle pulp of beef. The name Salisbury steak for a ground beef patty served as the main course has been used in the United States since 1897. Which would have been just before Taft was in office, but I was close. Salisbury recommended this recipe, somewhat different from modern Salisbury steak recipes, for the treatment of, what was that? Alimentation. I have never seen that word before. Digestive disorders. Heat the muscle pulp of lean beef, made into cakes and broiled. This pulp should be as free as possible from connective or glue tissue, fat and cartilage. Okay, what the fuck are they talking about? Because everybody knows if you make a hamburger, you want 20% fat in the ground beef or the minced meat. You know, if you get the one that's lean, it tastes like cardboard. And don't get on me about that's too much fat, because most of it goes out of the burger when it's being cooked, right? But on its way out, it is moistening the beef and adding flavor throughout every bite. So, shut up! Throughout every bite. Previous to chopping, the fat bones, tendons, and what the hell is that? Fascia. That's not how you spell fascia. I don't even know how to pronounce that word. Should all be cut away. I don't know who wrote this article, but I think we get it. Physicians should not cook beef or anything. All right, let's do the defense, and then I gotta go out and give my dog to the street people.
From Mr. Scully on behalf of the defendant, Judy Church.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So what do we think the defense is going to be? he accidentally drank the antifreeze? Someone else gave it to him? Or, well, I mean, what else could it be? That it wasn't actually antifreeze. What other options? Those are three very weak possibilities, but let's have a look what Mr. Defense has to say.
Morning. It's nice to see you all together here after 2 long days of meeting you all individually. All of us, including the defense team and Ms. Church, owe you a great deal of gratitude. So thank you for agreeing to be the jurors on her trial. This trial has been a long time coming. This is her date in court. You are her jurors. And as the clerk, when she...
Okay, the stagnated delivery sounds like he's just going through the motions to me. I'm getting paid.
Swore you in, eloquently said, you are her country. Now, you've all set aside your lives and all the important things that you're doing to come here every day on our schedule, to sit patiently, to listen, to keep an open mind, to evaluate evidence, to deliberate when the time comes, and to reach a verdict. And no matter what that verdict is, we all owe you the same debt of gratitude. But I suggest the verdict will be not guilty. Now, the evidence is going to come in over the next 2.5 weeks.
I suggest the verdict should be not guilty. Yeah, I get it. As the defense lawyer, I figured that's what you would be, leaning towards. It's not very strong, is it? I suggest that you might think about putting not guilty. If it's okay with you.
Is a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. It's not all on a timeline.
Oh my God, it's like a what? I love puzzles. The reason I love them is because they only work if every piece fits. If a piece doesn't fit, you can't hammer it. You can't jammer it. It doesn't look anything like it does on the box.
Witnesses come in and testify, documents get introduced, photographs get introduced, videos get played, audios get heard. And each piece of evidence represents, or is similar to, a piece of the puzzle that the prosecution is trying to put together. And you, at the end of the day, are going to decide, do the pieces fit the way they say or not? Are there pieces they try to jam in that don't fit? And are there pieces that do fit but are the wrong color or otherwise don't make sense? And that's why it's essential to keep an open mind throughout the whole process until you get a good look at the entire puzzle that is this case. Now, Judy Church, way over here. You've all had barely a chance to look at her. She comes before you now.
Yeah, thank God. Let's take a moment. You've all had barely a chance to look at her. I mean, she actually does. Her face looks a bit like this Salisbury steak, but and just as appetizing, just as not appetizing. Let's have a look at Judy's ugly face. If he cheats on me, I'll kill him. Well, you're sort of asking for it, really, aren't you? Why don't you sort yourself out a bit? Maybe run a comb through your hair. Wash your face. Then maybe he wouldn't have to step out. She had it coming. Where is she? Judy. She must be in church. Not praying. Not praying at all. Look at her leathery...
67 years old. She was then, in 2022, 64 years old. You will learn that she's originally from Bedford, Massachusetts. That she's
So I guess the will you still need me, will you still feed me when I'm 64 didn't work out. Will you still need me, will you still feed me, antifreeze. Are there any other murderous lines in that song? In that horrible song? When I get older, combing my hair. Let's rewrite the whole thing with murderous antifreeze at its heart, right?
She's one of 4 sisters. That her father, Donald, was a Navy man and a firefighter. That her mother, Jean, was a mom, a bookkeeper, for Blue Ribbon Dairy. You will learn that Judy went to high school and graduated, worked as a waitress, and put herself through college. And that she eventually went to, got a degree, a bachelor's degree in education from Framingham State College. In 1988, she got a job as a school teacher at the Howe Manning Elementary School. In 1988, as a 3rd grade teacher. She taught in the 3rd grade for 1 year, and then she taught in the 4th grade for 30 years in a row. Same classroom, same school. And then she retired. Along the way, she got married. Her first husband, her only husband, Rusty. They had a son, Douglas. And in 2002, they moved to Salisbury, where this drama that is this trial starts to unfold, but not back then. They buy a house, and they move to Salisbury so Douglas could attend the Votech school. And they live together as a family, and they grow up, and they continue on. In 2012, Judy is 54 years old. Leroy Fowler comes onto the scene. He's 45 years old. He's a loose friend of the family. Rusty likes to ride motorcycles. Leroy likes to ride motorcycles. Judy likes to ride on the back of motorcycles. And they get to know each other through that circumstance. Leroy is in a relationship at that time with a woman named Julie Hawkins, mother of Michael Hawkins, who's a witness in this case. And Julie Hawkins is also described as like a second mother to Leroy Jr. So Leroy has this family, Julie Hawkins, Leroy his son, and Michael Hawkins, his stepson. But he leaves that family, and he looks for a place to live, Leroy. And he becomes a tenant at the home of Judy Church and Rusty. And this is where the relationship between Judy Church and Leroy Fowler starts to happen, comes to fruition.
Okay. The mute button was on. I just got excited because they were talking about Rusty, which is what we named our very special, rare Mexican sheep mascot.
They start out as friends. They're in the same place. He's a lot younger, as you've heard. And he rides a motorcycle, and at that time he's a construction worker, and he's a vibrant guy, and he represents some youth.
A vibrant guy. What does that mean? He's gay?
To Judy. They start hanging around, too much, maybe, and then They fall in love, and a romance blossoms. Judy.
A Gatorade romance? Did they both like the, what is the blue flavor? It's raspberry, isn't it? How does that work?
Living in the house with her husband, and Leroy is in the house with them in a different unit. Husband Rusty finds out, and Judy and Leroy leave the house. Judy leaves her marriage. She's in love with Leroy Fowler, and she's going to give up her old life in search of something a little younger, a little newer, a little more exciting, something that's enticing. Now, this starts what I would suggest is a honeymoon phase between the two. And that lasts for a while. What do? They buy.
I'm guessing that they had Salisbury steak without even putting it on a plate, just, used their fingers to dig it out of the plastic tub that it comes in while watching TV. Yeah. American Gladiators. Yeah. Their favorite.
Buy a house. Actually, Judy buys a house. 108 Central Ave in Salisbury. And they move in together. And it's a fixer-upper. It's where this all happens. Judy and Leroy eventually move in.
It's a fixer-upper, is it? Notice the complete absence of gasps coming from the jury box. What is it? Jury... From the jury. Where do they sit? The jury... The witness box, or stands. The jury... I don't know. Booth?
Into the top floor. Douglas, Judy's son, moves into the bottom floor. And there's a cottage with some tenants in the back. These tenants don't really have any factual connection to this case. But there they are. And Judy and Leroy build a life together, a new life, and it's exciting. And they have fun. They go on motorcycle rides. They buy a dog together named Salt, who joins the other dog already owned by Leroy.
Whoa. Named what?
And it's exciting. And they have fun. They go on motorcycle rides. They buy a dog together named Salt, who joins the other.
Salt? Why the fuck would you call your dog's name that? Salt. Ridiculous. Four-letter word beginning with S. Isn't that right, Soap? What a ridiculous name. Salt.
Dog already owned by Leroy. They work on this fixer-upper all the time, and it's its own entity within their lives. And things are good. And it takes a while to get that all done. It takes about 3 years.
Yeah, well, it would have taken a competent person a month. It took them 3 years to clean all of these stacks of old newspapers out of the living room.
And then someone comes on the scene that dramatically changes that. And the honeymoon period comes to an end.
There's no honeymoon period, okay?
Leroy Fowler meets a woman named Barbara Randall. Barbara Randall is younger than Judy by almost 5 years, and he begins an affair.
Hey, at 65 years old, that doesn't fucking matter.
With Barbara Randall. He starts to see her on the side. Judy finds out about it, and she is heartbroken, and she is angry at Barbara and at Leroy. And she wants Leroy to stop. But he doesn't. He refuses to stop. And so what emerges, and this is now in 2017, 2018, okay?
years earlier than 2022, where Leroy Fowler dies. What emerges in 2018 is a love triangle that Leroy Fowler has stuck these two women in, and neither one of them like it, and neither one of them like each other. Judy refers to Barbara as the C word. Barbara refers to Judy as grandma. Constantly, whenever she's talking and texting with Leroy, why don't you go home with
Can we verify if she is actually a grandmother? Because, I mean, she could be. I mean, is that slander? Is that libel? Is it abuse? I called you a grandma. You are. Oh.
grandma? You don't want to be with me. Leroy would. And so he creates this dynamic that goes on for years with these two women. Neither one of them want it. But he imposes it on them. And over time, they accept it. And those journal entries and that anger in the phone and in the journals, many of those were written in that era. When Judy was really mad, and she would pick up the pen or get on her phone, and to channel her anger, she would put it all into those places. Get it out of her system. I hate you, I'm mad at you, whatever it said. That's a good place to do it. But then every time Leroy came home, she took him back. Now, over time, her plan became, I'm going to be the last woman standing. I taught in the same classroom for 30 years. I'm not leaving this guy who I love. I'm not giving up on him, even though it hurts, even though I don't like it.
There's no love there at all, okay? It's an ownership thing. It's soap. What the fuck is wrong with you? Unbelievable. It's an ownership thing. She's fucking looking at me in my back, and I can feel it. Oh, motherfucker.
And so she decides, I'm sticking this through. And this goes on for years. And in fact, Leroy always comes back. And he lives with Judy. That's who he lives with. And over time, get out! Bizarre love triangle kind of normalizes. It's not good. Leroy might like it, but Judy and Barbara don't like it. But it gets accepted. Until 2022. 2022 is the exact opposite of what the prosecution has tried to lay out for you and is the backbone of their case. 2022 is really the year for Judy because Leroy is getting tired of Barbara and he's getting ready to leave her. And he's going to stay with Judy. And we know this because in 2021 in December, they get in Judy's Jeep and they drive together to Florida. They're both getting older now. Leroy's health isn't doing so good. You've heard references to pacemakers.
To Florida, huh? For what? For what? Go to Maine. It's closer.
He's got other issues coming on the scene. He's not doing great. He's out of work now. He's on SSDI. Got some food stamps. So he's not the young guy he was, the swashbuckler on the motorcycle when he first met Judy. But he's her guy. So they drive to Florida and they shop for a home. See if they can find a house to live. They're going to move and get a new start on life. And leave Salisbury, and leave drugs, and leave alcohol, and leave other things, and leave Barbara behind, and give it a new go.
build a new house like the first house they built. See if they get the little magic of the honeymoon period back. And Judy buys them a house. She buys them a house, which is a trailer house. She pays cash.
I was going to say, just say trailer. It's not a house.
Out of her savings, $111,000.
She bought him a trailer and filled the freezer with Salisbury steak TV dinners.
And she puts it in his name. That's the guy she hates and wants to kill. She puts that house in his name and they buy it. And they live in that house in Florida in 2022, January, February, and March. Right? And they live there. And they make a plan to come back to this Florida house that they call their Forever house. And Judy also bought Leroy a truck, a black Dodge Ram truck, new to him, used for $13,000, and put it in his name so that he could have that to help them.
So we've got black Ram truck, trailer, Salisbury steak. I think we're building a picture.
Move back and forth. The house was in both their names. Both their names, right? This was their dream. Now, they get back to Salisbury, and of course the plan is to get organized and get back down to Florida. You arrive here in New England in the spring, it leads to the summer, and they're still sort of dallying with this idea. There's this plan to go, but the plan doesn't get quite put in motion. But it's still planned. So throughout...
I know, Spacey Dove, nothing says I love you more than a freezer full of Monsanto, what is it? Monobicarbonate fucking toxic chemicals. But approved by the what is it? FDA? Food and Drink Administration. FDA, approved by the FDA.
Spring into the summer, it's still a plan between Judy and Leroy to go. And then
maybe that should be the defense, right? It wasn't antifreeze. It was some, untreated chemical that wasn't detoxified from the manufacturing of rancid fucking Salisbury steak TV dinners. Who knows what's in those things?
the plan becomes to go that weekend that Leroy dies. So, on November 5th, 2022, Leroy...
Hey Michelle, how you doing? We're not going to be long, we're just doing opening statements. And then we're going to take a little trip to the glue factory.
Sends a text message to Barbara, breaks up with her, says it's over. I'm packed, the trailer is packed, and I'm moving to Florida with Judy. That's November 5th, right? Judy has won, if it's a competition, right? Judy has her man at long last. She has the home they're going to go to, and they're going within days. It's just a matter of the final packing arrangements. Winter is coming, it's getting colder, and they're going to Florida to live. So how could her motive be to kill him then? They're stringing this motive from all kinds of stuff, little jokes taken out of context that are off color, old entries from journals, stray text messages, trying to cobble them together. But they don't fit. They don't fit. These two are going to Florida that weekend. So what happened on the early morning that Leroy died is he has a room, that's sort of the man room, on one end of the house. Judy's got the bedroom that's hers and his on the other end of the house, and the living space is in between. At some point in the early morning, Leroy, it's his birthday, comes down the hall to visit with Judy. They've been texting each other all night, even though they're not far away. And there's no animosity between them in those text messages. They're about sex. And he comes down the hall, and in the bedroom, he's not doing well, right? He starts to fall out of bed. He falls down. He's becoming less and less coherent. He's not looking good, and she's asking, what did you take, Leroy? What did you take? By this time, he's a cocaine addict, heavy user. He's also a Percocet abuser. And maybe other things. But she doesn't know, so she said, what did you do, Leroy? What did you take? And she's filming him for the purpose of educating him, for this is what you're doing to yourself, whatever it is. And on the film, she asks, can I call 911? Can I call 911? And eventually he says yes. And she does. She's the one who calls 911 and says, my boyfriend ingested something, and she gives specific directions as to how to get into the house.
Oh, that should be a good 911 call. Has that already been released? I know nothing of this case. I just saw it pop up and thought, let's have a look at opening statements. It looks good, though. I think we'll do the whole trial. What do you think? Should we do the whole trial? Support the channel on PayPal. Link in the description. That is the best place. The letter of the day is P, and it stands for PayPal.
Now, the EMTs arrive, and they observe Leroy and try to find out what happened. Here's something that Leroy doesn't say. He doesn't say, she did something to me. Or he doesn't say, I've been poisoned. He says, I took 10 Percocets. That doesn't seem from the labs that get them later like he did take 10 Percocets. At least they didn't seem to appear in his system. But the point isn't whether he took them or not. The point is, that's his kind of say, I think she did something to me. But of course he didn't do that. Because she didn't do anything to him. And he knew it. Now what happens is, there's the, what emerges is what I'll loosely term a conspiracy theory. The police talked to Michael Hawkins, son of Julie Hawkins. They talked to Leroy Fowler's son, Leroy, Julie Hawkins' second son. They talked to Tammy Carbone. They talked to Barbara Randall, right? And then out of the woodwork, 2 years later, that...
No, classic antifreeze. At least that's the accusation. It might have just been toxic chemicals in the Salisbury steak TV dinners.
Friend who says he had a conversation in the bar with Judy, who said, I'll poison him if he cheats on me, right? That's John Haywood. He comes forward 2 years later. He's Leroy's first cousin. These are the civilian witnesses you're...
You know, if someone says to you, hey, if he cheats on me, I'll kill him. That you don't take any notice of, right? I mean, that's just, you know, people say that, don't they? They go, oh, I could kill that guy. And it's just an expression to say that they're really mad most of the time. But if you take it to the degree of specificity that she did, I'll poison him. If he ever cheats on me, I'll poison him. Then it becomes a little bit more concerning.
Going to hear from. And they all throw shade at Judy, right? They're all picking, oh, this piece of little evidence, or she said this once, or I have this text message, or I swear Leroy said this to me, even though Leroy's not around, right? And this becomes the foundation of the prosecution case. These things. From these people. And they're admittedly hurt, angry, upset, confused, looking for answers. But they get the wrong answers by pointing the finger at her. And that gets demonstrated through the science and the math of this case.
Do you think TV dinners will adapt the name? Because who watches TV anymore? Even if you're using the television set, it's, it's not television. It's YouTube. It's Netflix. It's Prime, and it's HBO. So what could you call it? Streaming dinners.
Basic science and basic math. Lawyers don't go to law school because they're good at math and science, right? So
Lawyers don't go to law school because they're good at math and science. Well, some of them do. But that is a thing, isn't it? We see that a lot where lawyers go, hey, math, not my thing. Even Georgia Cappleman. I'm terrible at math.
the police go eventually and they search Judy Church's home, and they find this bottle, which is not this exact bottle, but this is a replica of the bottle. Okay? Exact bottle should come in as an exhibit, as will many photographs.
A replica of the bottle. It's just some other bottle. It's not like it's been made in a special evidence lab and it's like, yes, we have to exactly manufacture the bottle to be a replica of the original poison bottle. No, it's just some other plastic bottle.
And it's a red Powerade fruit punch drink. It is known to be, by family members who tell the police, this is Leroy's, one of his favorite drinks. This is one of his favorite drinks. And it's in a clear plastic bottle, and in the bottom of it is not something that doesn't...
Okay, did he do any activity? Because if you drink a load of energy drinks and don't do anything and just watch American Gladiators, you get fat.
look right. In the bottom of it is something that's bright orange, a bright orange liquid. Bright orange liquid. In the bottom of what's supposed to be red powder. What they're trying to suggest...
Oh, that's cool, because it would be like that, wouldn't it? It wouldn't mix. It would be like oil and vinegar in a dressing, right? Oil and vinegar. Doesn't mix, like a lava lamp. Like a lava lamp. So they just looked at the bottle and was like, oh look, it's a different colour.
The Judy Church somehow slipped in this invisible, sweet-tasting ethylene glycol from antifreeze, and then he drank it all and didn't know it. Then came down the hallway and didn't know that he just drank something poison, even when he talked to the EMTs. That's what they're trying to suggest. Well, they're trying to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. So now there's this clear plastic bottle, supposed to have red fruit punch in it, his favorite drink, and it's got orange, something orange in it. The police sees it, they test it, right? And it comes back positive for ethylene glycol. Prosecutor referred to it as antifreeze. It's a common ingredient. And left to itself, that is a sweet-tasting ingredient, ethylene glycol, by itself. But there's a Massachusetts general law that requires that when these products are sold in Massachusetts, and there's others in other states, that antifreeze and other things that use ethylene glycol have to have a bittering agent in it to alert people, right? So there's not an accidental consumption or something like that. Doesn't mean you wouldn't be able to chug it down if you were determined, but you would be alerted to its presence. They don't test for it. Ever. Even now. But the defense does. We hire a lab and say, hey, we have a test for this bittering agent. Was it in there? And they do the testing, and they find, yes, it was. The bittering agent was in substance. So now you've got the clear plastic bottle, supposed to have red liquid in it, has bright orange liquid in it, seems to have it, has the ethylene glycol in it from some source, probably antifreeze, and has the bittering agent. That's the basic science. Bittering agent is called denatonium benzoate. Now, the math of it is essentially that based on the amount of ethylene glycol in Leroy Fowler's blood, and based on the concentration of it in the sample, it appears that he would have had to have drank about 3 bottles of that stuff to put himself in the state that he was in. And that's just the math of it. So these are the questions that exonerate Judy Church. Now, what happened to Leroy? What happened to Leroy, right? Well, you guys might be in the best position of all to get good insight into that. You're going to hear from all these witnesses and get a chance to evaluate all the evidence. And you might figure it out, or have good ideas about it. Or you might not. You might not figure it out, because that's not your mission. Your mission isn't to find out, well, what did happen to Leroy. Your mission is much narrower.
Isn't it? Well, I get what he's saying.
And much clearer. Have they proved beyond a reasonable doubt that she murdered him? That's your mission.
Did you see her pour the antifreeze on the Salisbury steak? What did they call it? What did they call it? A muscle pulp beef.
Now, when Leroy died, so did all of Judy's dreams to go to Florida. So did many of her relationships, including...
Has Florida ever solved anybody's problems? Oh, you know, things aren't working out. I tell you what, we'll go to Florida. Maybe for tax reasons. And,
a valuable one with Tammy Carbone, Leroy's sister-in-law, and other people. She got accused, and now she stands alone to defend herself. But Judy Church is not a murderer. She's a lot of things. She's a daughter, sister, a mom, teacher, an educator, an ex-wife, girlfriend, a bit of a fool. She's not a murderer.
okay, I could have done better at opening statements with no training, no prep, and not even knowing the case.
At the end of this trial, the defense will have another chance to address you all, and by then, the jigsaw puzzle will be finished. And it will be missing pieces, and at least one of those pieces is going to be the wrong color. Orange. Bright orange. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scully. Mr. Camilli, are you prepared to start with your first witness? Or I can. All right. Let's take the break at about 11, but let's get going with the first witness. Thank you.
I'm roll call Monica Arms.
Okay, well, this is a nice surprise. Another trial, antifreeze trial, looks quite good, even for Massachusetts, which I usually don't like. What part is it? Salisbury, Salisbury, Massachusetts. Okay, so way up, practically in, what would that be? Vermont, New Hampshire, practically in New Hampshire. Way up. Good. I like it. I like it. So yeah, we'll maybe come back and have a little look at this later. I gotta go. I gotta go right now. Duty calls. It always does. Yeah, please do leave a like on the video before you leave, and think about the letter P and what it means to you and what it means to me. All right, adios. We'll see you later, guys. Take it easy. Have a good day. Go and watch that trial, and then come to Discord and chat about it. Right? Everybody chat on Discord. Where's that link? We will leave you with this very special magic free link. Invitation only, exclusive club offers. Boom! See you later.